Well, in today's episode of Valuing My Toy Collection, we are still going to be valuing some more of our beauty pageant collectibles. We've got so many great items from 1960s all the way up to present. So stay until the end of the video and let's see how much everything is worth. Hey everyone, my name's Chris. I'm a full-time beauty pageant director as my career, but in my spare time, I'm a huge toy collector. I've been collecting toys now for over 40 years. You can officially call me a toyaholic. Thanks so much for checking out my YouTube channel. My channel consists mainly of two things: beauty pageants, which I love, and toys, which I love even more. My dream in life has always been to own a toy museum. So it's finally happened. I've bought a building and now I've got to move this massive collection and value it into the building. We're calling it the Toy Vault because it's an old bank building located in Crystal Springs, Mississippi that actually has two large vaults. So now I'm just going to make a ton of videos and value my toy collection. And then I'm going to make some where I take you shopping with me to thrift stores and flea markets and toy stores to let you see where I find all these goodies. So let's start this episode of Valuing My Toy Collection and value some toys. And in this video, instead of toys, we're going to value our beauty pageant collection. That picture of Linda Lee Mead, Miss America 1960, was worth about $12. And then we have this small album of Jackie Mayer, Miss America 1963, that says Slim Along. It's worth about $15. It was a different time back then. All right, we have a little thing of roses worth about $8, a cool loving cup worth about $10, and this Crown Bank worth about $8. Have this whole little collection of miniature trophies and loving cups, probably worth about $25 for the whole set. And then we have these. These are old vintage Miss America watches. We have the case and the watch, and we have two different ones, and these are worth about $40 each. And this little Miss America silver dish, it's worth about $15. And then we have this Miss America clamshell dish, it's worth about $25. We've got these really cool Miss Universe coins. They're from the Philippines, I believe. This one's Margie Moran, she was Miss Universe 1973. And then we have Gloria Diaz, she was Miss Universe 1969. And back then, they were the only two Miss Universes from the Philippines. And then they made a coin of the very first Miss Universe from Finland in 1952. And if you look on the back of the coin, it shows the 1974 Miss Universe pageant that was held in the Philippines. This little pageant clay sculpture, probably worth about $2. And then we have a Miss Magnolia State pen. This is one of our pageant pens. It's worth about $6. And then we have the white version of the American Beauty Queen Barbie by Mattel. She's worth about $15 loose. And then we have the African American version, still in the box, worth about $50. I have a Vanessa Williams 1984 Miss America, the Right Stuff cassette, and then her second cassette, they're worth about $6 each. Lisa Stewart, who is first runner-up to Miss Mississippi, her cassette's worth about $8. I believe she had a cable show as well. And the last Vanessa Williams cassette's worth about $6. Now this one's rare. It's a Kaylani Ray Rathko Miss America 1988 Slim Aerobics cassette worth about $20. And everyone's favorite, a Miss Congeniality VHS tape worth about $5. This is kind of hard to find. It's a Miss America hairbrush worth about $20. And then we have a Cheryl and Friends VHS tape. It's an aerobic tape. It's worth about $15. We've got this vintage Miss America doll. She's from the 50s, and she's worth about $50. And then in the back, we have this Miss America pageant game. It's worth about $50. It's in perfect condition. We've got this little vintage Miss America mirror. It's worth about $10. And we've got a couple books of paper dolls. We have, I think, 3 different versions. And this one looks like it's from about 1973-ish. This one as well. They're worth about $15 each. And then in this little folder, we have a vintage ad about one of the Miss America dolls. It's worth about probably $3, not much. Then another paper doll book worth about $15. Got this Essence magazine with when Miss America, Miss USA, and Miss Teen USA were all African American that year. It's worth about $10. And then we have this Boardwalk Journal book. It's worth about $5. And we've got some sheet music from the Miss America pageant. It's worth about $10. And then we have this Miss All-American head vase, and she's worth $75. She's pretty collectible. And then we have the best girl in the whole wide world. That's my little baby Daisy. She's taking a nap while I'm filming all this pageant stuff. All right, we have some Miss Teen USA program books. We have 7 different books from the 80s up to current years. And I don't think the Teen USA books are as valuable as the USA and the Universe books, but I figure they're worth at least $20 each. And we do have 7 of these, so that's $140 we can add to our overall grand total. I would like to have a whole collection, just to kind of keep up with which teen contestants did miss, but they're kind of hard to find, and I don't really want to spend a whole lot of money buying these teen books, so I'm happy with the ones I have. And the last 2 years, what they've done is they've combined the Miss and Teen books together. Well, here they are right here. They actually turned them upside down. It's kind of weird. And they would have the Miss contestants in the front and then the teen contestants in the back of the book. These don't really have any value, but I found in one of my teen books, we went to the farewell send-off party for Juliana Jackson. I got one of her little pictures, and then she had a photo booth there where there I am with her, where you could take pictures with her to wish her good luck as she went to compete at the national pageant. She's been in my pageant since she was about 8 or 9 years old, maybe 10. So we had to go support her as she competed for Miss Teen USA. Next up, we have a Miss World USA program book from 1975. I love how they had these crazy swimsuits, and I don't know, it's just a great 70s looking picture. And that program book is probably worth about $15. And then we've got a Miss Texas USA program book from 1986 worth about $20. Then we've got our Miss USA program books. This is the most rare one. Is Daisy still asleep up there? This is the first year the Universe and USA separated their program books. They became separate, different program books. And this is the first one. There's one on eBay listed for $749, but I think that's too much. I think realistically, this is worth about $300. Program book, and some of the pages were actually in color back then. There's our Miss Mississippi that year. That's pretty cool, and some of the state costumes. And then there's a picture of the reigning Miss USA in her swimsuit. It's a good looking book. It's in great shape, and like I said, it's worth about $300. Then I've got a couple more books from the 60s. These are really hard to find. I think this one's worth about $75, and then this one's a lot harder to find. It's worth about $150. And then this one just sold on eBay. It sold for about $100. And then this one from 1970 is also worth about $100. We have a lot more. Like this is the 1973 program book. It's probably worth about $50. I think most of the ones in the 70s are worth about $50 each. I mean, some of them might be worth $75, $95, but I'm just going to say about $50 to make it easy so I don't have to look up each book, because sometimes it's hard to find all these books. Some of them are kind of rare and they don't really show up on eBay, so you kind of have to guesstimate what you would pay for them as a collector. And I just bid on one on eBay that was a 1971 book. It's really hard, and I bid up to $150 to get it and ended up selling for $275. So like I said, some of them can really go up in value. That's Judy Anderson. I actually have her evening gown that she won Miss USA in. I'm going to put it in a different video. And again, these are all worth about $50 each. I wish my toy museum was big enough to display everything I had where you could just see it all, but unfortunately it's not going to be that big. So a lot of these will just be stacked up, and maybe I can kind of display them to kind of rotate them out and kind of show the different covers sometimes. I will have one whole room in the toy museum that's just for beauty pageants, since I am a beauty pageant director, and it's been a huge part of my life since I was a teenager. So I've just got a couple more that we're going to value at $50. I think this one's easily worth $50. And then this one's worth $50. And then the next one we start is 1989. And these are a little bit easier to find. So I'm going to say all these into the current year are probably worth about $35 each. Now these, I didn't really like it when they started putting the city on the cover of the program book. I like it a lot better when they put the actual reigning title holder on the cover of the program book. But maybe they did this to kind of please the city that was sponsoring the pageant. But I think they should have at least put a small picture of the current winner somewhere on the cover. When I was really into pageants, I would like to get all these program books to kind of see which contestants crossed over to Miss USA, to Miss America, or vice versa. It's always fun to see. Now here in 1997, they did put the reigning queen on the cover of the book, which looks much better. They should have done that every year. But then they went back the next year, just putting the city on the program book. And then here you see they have a couple small snapshots of the winners, which that's okay. At least she is represented on the cover. And then they started putting the winner on the cover again fully in 2001. And then 2002 and 2003, they had the winners on the cover. And then I like it more like this. They started making the books look more like model magazines. And I thought that was pretty cool that they put the winners like that, where they look like fashion models on the cover. But again, all these are worth about $35 each. You know, it's crazy. The books are getting harder and harder to get from the Miss USA and Miss Universe pageant. They won't actually let you order them by mail anymore. You have to actually go to the pageant to pick one up. Or what I've been doing is I know some of the winners, or I have friends that go, and I try to get them to pick me up a program book. But like last year, I couldn't even hardly get a program book. Luckily, I know the girl that won Miss Teen USA. She's from our state in Mississippi, and her mother got me a book because they gave them a couple books, but they couldn't even find the program books for sale in the auditorium. So, like I said, that's why the USA and Universe books become so collectible and so valuable. It's because they're hard to get. The Miss America book, they have so many of those printed, they're a lot easier to get, but they don't keep their value. Here's Asia Branch on the cover of this program book. She was Mississippi's very first Miss USA and our only Miss USA so far. Now, even though I'm pricing most of these at $35, some of these newer ones are probably worth, I'd say probably $75 to $100 because they're just so hard to find now and get your hands on one. But I just don't want to overvalue my collection. So for now, I'm doing them for $35. I think they cost more than that when you buy them new at the pageant. All right, now we've got some regular books. This one is from the 90s called Becoming a Beauty Queen. There's my helper Daisy. She likes to see what I'm doing sometimes. It was worth about $6, and this one's kind of the same book. It's called Tiara, worth about $6. The Phyllis George book, Never Say Never, is worth about $5. And Who Would Have Thought by a Mrs. United States winner, that one's worth about $15. Promises I Made My Mother by Sam Haskell is worth about $5. And the Charlene Wells book is worth $8. The Angela Baracchio book is worth about $10. And then Under the Crown book is worth about $20. It's hard to find. Pain Behind the Smile is worth about $5 from a former Miss Tennessee. 101 Secrets to Win in Beauty Pageants is worth about $8. And That Girl in Your Mirror with Vonda K. Van Dyke is worth about $15. California Girl, Miss USA 1959 is worth $10. Dear Vonda K, worth about $15. This book with Pia, Miss Universe, the lookbook's worth $20. It's pretty hard to find, pretty collectible. Cheryl Pruitt, A Bright Shining Place, is worth about $15. And the Miss World 1970 book is worth about $7. That was a cute movie too. And then this book about the first Indian that competed, or Native American that competed at Miss America, is worth about $10. And there's my girl Daisy checking everything out. Bastard Queen is worth about $15. And the Miss Universe Beauty book is worth about $20. Looking for Miss America is worth $7. The Miss America Cookbook is worth about $7. And then Here She Is book is worth about $7. Rankin County magazine with the big story about Miss Mississippi in it, probably worth about $3, not worth too much. And then we had one of our pageant queens on the cover of a magazine, probably worth about $3. This magazine with Miss Columbia that won Miss Universe on it's worth about $10. And then this newspaper I picked up in the Cayman Islands when we were on vacation had Miss Universe on it. I figure it's worth at least $5. And then we've got a couple Filipino magazines with Pia on the cover. I figure they're worth at least $5 each. And then we have a People magazine with Vanessa Williams on it during her scandal. And that one's worth about $15. I have this old magazine called Exposed. It has a Miss USA on the front. Or is that a Miss Universe? I can't see. Oh, that's Miss Universe. It's probably worth about $20. And then we have another People magazine with Vanessa Williams on the cover and her green sequin top. It's worth about $25. And then one more People magazine where Vanessa's on the top, a lot smaller, probably worth about $5. Have Debbie Turner on Ebony magazine. She's worth about $15. This cute little Miss America ceramic music box is worth about $15. And then a glass from Atlantic City. This is probably from the 50s and it's worth about $10. And then we have this Hard Rock Cafe pen set of the Miss America pens worth about $25. And the last thing in this video, we have a lot of our program books from our pageant system, which in the 90s and early 2000s, it was called the Southern Magnolia State Pageant. And we ended up changing names and growing to become the Miss Magnolia State Pageant, which is actually the largest pageant in Mississippi. We average over 200 girls ages 0 to 11 in our September pageant, and then about 100 to 130 girls in our older girls, which is 12 and up. We have a junior, a miss, a teen, and a Mrs. division. And when they win now, they get a trip to Europe. It's a pretty great thing. So here are just our little kid pageant program books. They're huge, they're thick, and we have 26 of these. And I don't think they're worth a whole lot. They're probably worth about $5 each, but that's another $130 we can add to our overall grand total. So speaking of our overall grand total, let's go see what everything in this video is actually worth. Well, in our previous 474 videos of value in my toy collection, our toys were worth $1,225,510. And when we add this video of all of our pageant collectibles, we can add another $4,091 to our overall grand total. So that means for episode 475 of Value in My Toy Collection, our new grand total is $1,229,601. I always wanted to say I had $1 million toy collection, and now I can actually say it. This has been a 40-year project building it up, and I'm so glad you're here to help me see what it's all worth. Well, guys, thank you so much for watching. I hope you're enjoying these videos as much as I am making them. I like to see what I have and see what it's worth. And I'm putting all the toys and collectibles on our Facebook page, which is called the Toy Vault of Mississippi. And if you haven't subscribed to our channel, please think about doing so because it really helps us to grow. So until our next video, we will see you then.